OpenAI's CEO takes us by surprise by asking what their next open source project should be. Trump's tariffs raise U.S. laptop prices by 10% or more. Google introduces the next generation of tracking, and aging developers threaten Linux and other open source projects' survival. Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman has sparked a debate over, believe it or not, what the company's next open source project should be. He asked in a post on X whether users prefer a smaller O3 mini model that requires GPUs or the best phone-sized AI model they can make. That post suggests OpenAI may shift its stance to offer more open source projects. In a recent blog post, Altman acknowledged the increasing role of AI in daily life, writing, "Many of us expect to need to give people more control over the technology than we have historically, including open sourcing more." And in a recent Sky News interview, Altman said, "I think we should probably open source somewhat more." Now, this discussion comes with increasing interest and support in open source AI. Noted venture capital Chamath Palihapitiya noted, "I think in the war of open source versus closed, open has won." Whether that's true, with competitors like DeepSeek gaining traction, with Meta's Llama being open source, and with Mistral coming out of Europe, OpenAI appears to be reconsidering how much of its work to make publicly available. Altman also confirmed OpenAI's upcoming releases. GPT-4.5, internally called Orion, will be the last non-chain-of-thought model. GPT-5 will integrate multiple AI tools into a unified system. And when will these models arrive? Altman hinted that GPT 4.5 or 5 could launch within weeks or possibly within months. Acer CEO Jason Chen has confirmed that U.S. laptop prices will rise by at least 10% starting in March 2025 due to new tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. Speaking with The Telegraph, Chen stated that the price hike is a direct response to the increasing import taxes on electronics from China. "We will have to adjust the end-user price to reflect the tariff," Chen said. "We think 10% will probably be the default price increase because of the import tax. It's very straightforward. While this is going to affect all devices, it really shows up at the top of the line." The most expensive laptop, the Predator Triton 17, is currently priced at $3,799, but that could jump to $4,178 if the full cost is passed on to consumers. The Consumer Technology Association estimates that 80% of U.S. laptop imports come from China and warns that these tariffs could cost U.S. consumers as much as $143 billion. While the goal is to boost domestic manufacturing, U.S. production is only expected to increase by 8%, leaving buyers with fewer options and higher costs. And while it may be great to think about onshoring manufacturing, the plans to build advanced electronics will require time and investment in a market where demand has been notoriously soft and unpredictable. Acer, which previously moved its desktop PC assembly out of China, is now exploring alternative supply chains, including possible U.S. production. Meanwhile, Chen cautioned that other manufacturers might use the tariffs as an excuse to raise prices beyond 10%. So far, no other PC makers have publicly commented on their pricing plans. Google has made a significant shift in its user tracking policies, now permitting advertisers to employ fingerprinting techniques across all its platforms, including devices like smart TVs and gaming consoles. This change, effective this month, has raised substantial privacy concerns among users and regulators. Fingerprinting involves collecting unique data points from a user's device, such as screen resolution, operating system, browser type, and even mouse movements, to create a distinctive profile that tracks online activity. Unlike cookies, which users can manage or delete, fingerprinting operates covertly, offering little or no user control over data collection. This development, abolishing cookies in favor of this new system, has been promised for a long time but continually delayed. One of the reasons it was delayed is originally Google was tremendously opposed to solutions like the one it is now championing. So the sudden shift and the move forward has caught some by surprise, and only now are people starting to think of the privacy implications. As Europe is always ahead on the concepts of privacy, the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, the ICO, has come out and criticized Google's policy reversal. Sam Altman, the ICO's Executive Director of Regulatory Risk, stated, "We think this change is irresponsible. Businesses do not yet have free rein to use fingerprinting as they please." The ICO emphasizes that such practices could undermine user choice and control over personal data. Google defends its decision by citing the need to adapt to devices that don't support traditional cookies and help businesses navigate the evolving digital landscape. A company spokesperson noted, "Privacy-enhancing technologies offer new ways for our partners to succeed on emerging platforms like connected TV without compromising user privacy." For users, the development means online activities could be monitored more extensively across various devices, making it increasingly challenging to maintain anonymity or to opt out of tracking. And unlike cookies, which we've said could be blocked or cleared out, new fingerprinting approaches will be harder to block and will allow a much more invasive approach, potentially linking all of the devices of a single user and also potentially identifying that use and potentially linking that with additional data. This could be, as some predict, the perfect storm and the abolition of privacy. We've yet to see if privacy settings, privacy-focused browsers, or extensions that resist fingerprinting combat this new development. For those who are concerned about their privacy, it's going to be critical to stay informed about data protection rights and make conscious choices about online interactions. When Kalle Valo, I hope I'm saying it correctly, the sole maintainer of Linux's wireless networking drivers, announced his sudden retirement, it raised a growing concern in the open source community. Who will take over as veteran developers step down? Valo's sudden and abrupt exit, coming just days after another key developer left due to health reasons, highlights a problem facing Linux and open source software as a whole: an aging contributor base with few younger developers stepping in to replace them. Valo, a longtime Qualcomm Atheros engineer and contributor since 2008, announced his decision to step down without an immediate successor. While specific Wi-Fi drivers like ATH10K, ATH11K, and ATH12K remain in capable hands, the broader wireless network stack lacks a dedicated maintainer. This gap reflects a larger trend in open source where key projects rely on a shrinking group of aging, or they might prefer seasoned, contributors who may not have clear successors. With all of us aging and eventual departures, the question of how long or even whether Linux can continue to evolve as an open source project is becoming increasingly urgent. While many open source projects need new blood, the remaining older group of developers are also part of the problem, however. For example, recent clashes over replacing C++ with Rust in the Linux kernel demonstrate the challenge of change. While younger developers saw Rust as a solution to security issues, aging C++ developers were loath to make a switch, instead defending C++ despite its clear issues with security. The debate got so heated, Linus Torvalds himself had to step in to mediate. Now, if disgruntled legacy developers are unhappy and leave, and without fresh talent willing to drive Linux forward, the project risks at best stagnation. Not even the mighty Linus Torvald can keep it going single-handed. For Linux to remain viable, it must attract new developers willing to take up the mantle. That means skills that go beyond development, mentorship, and making contributions more accessible and ensuring that the next generation sees open source development as a benefit to a sustainable career path and not just an unpaid volunteer effort. Given that the overwhelming majority of internet servers run on Linux, there's a lot at stake, and it's an issue that's a threat not just to Linux, but to the open source movement in general, just at the time when open source AI offers the potential to democratize AI and keep it from being dominated by what some are calling an oligarchy of 3 or 4 mega billionaires. Those are my thoughts on the issue. Love to hear what yours are. You can reach me at editorial@technewsday.ca. You can find me on LinkedIn. And of course, if you're part of that growing community on YouTube, just leave a comment under the video. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a wonderful Wednesday.